morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Tuesday, August 12th, 2025. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Here's a look at the ES in the daily time frame. This is ahead of CPI data today. We have CPI and Core CPI data coming out prior to the RTH open here by an hour. That's going to provide a dose of volatility here one way or the other. The expectation here is for 80 to 100 points of range today. Right there, that is your average range right there. Heading into today, it's 79.75. Up here, that's your 125% target. That's around 100. So you're looking at about 80 to 100 points of range today on a high range style day. Which way do we go? At the moment, we have been flowing higher toward the previous month's high. That's that impulse high right there. Watch the previous session's low. If we flash down below that low and put in a strong low, do we go outside day up? Meaning, do we go target the opposite side of the previous session's range and perhaps close beyond that range? That could open up a great move and take us into these highs for a big test, which ultimately could lead to a rotation back down. We might be stuck within this range for a little while. That impulse move right there has kept prices in check, and that could continue to be the case. So watching that early reaction after CPI will be very important. Again, if we get a reaction here at the previous session's low and a good rejection, there could be an opportunity to fling this thing back the other way for an outside day. Even a move from, say, 63.80 to 63.60 would be about 80 points. That is very, very doable here today. From a bearish perspective, same thing can happen where perhaps we flash up here and drop it to the downside here. So early reactions will be very, very important. Looking at the NQ, similar price action here. Narrow overnight range right now, just 21% of ADR. ES is trading 25% of ADR at just 19.75 points. This one here, just 80 points here for the day so far, heading into the RTH open. Again, this high and that low back to the mid has given us a new key range, and we've been inside the boundaries of that range for a while now. Do we go test the top? Do we go test the top? That's kind of which way we've been going here lately. And if we come into the top, do we get a strong reaction that brings us back down? That could certainly be in play. Again, we could trade anywhere in these between these two extremes right now and still be just kind of range bound overall. So at the moment, keep an eye on the previous session's low. Given the uptrending price action, if we flash down, say to 23,500 and find a rejection, we might be turning this thing back to 23.8 to 23.9, somewhere in that zone. We could easily have a 300 to 400 point day today for the NQ. Got to watch the early cues at the previous session's low. Any failure there where we're running through the low, we're dropping back toward the previous month's close price and back within the range. So again, how do we go out of this range? 300 to 400 points could be the range for today, depending on how good of a strong high or low we get. You can project the opposite way once CPI comes out. All right, looking at crude oil. Right now, crude oil down 0.6%. Big time compression down here. 3 days inside this range here, or the third developing day, inside day compression. We haven't really seen a strong low develop yet. Although the low Friday was not bad, it just didn't really finish strong. And one thing we wanted to see was a good reaction down here. Can it take out the lows and reject? If so, that can bring things back up the other way, back towards 70 to 72. As we mentioned before, as this thing develops an expanding range, gotta squeeze through the recent highs, and this thing might be primed for it. That right there is your previous month's low. And look at these 4 days, just a little box below there. The next move could be a failed low outside day up, and we're squeezing right back up. Or some sort of squeeze back above that previous low. That's going to be important. Very similar to what happened back here. You had several days here where it was trading down here after a drop, and then that day pushed it up to those highs. Can we get that day right there to tag along right there, that would open some things up to the upside. Until then, we're still trying to find that low, but that day is what we're looking for. That day right there after compression that brings us up. Can we get that and a good squeeze up ahead? Because remember, if we fail to hold 63s, 58.07 is down below the previous FOMC key level from May. Looking at gold, down 1/3% right now, trading 33.95s. Big, strong high, big time sell-off yesterday, right back down. That was a huge reaction. Price not ready to see expansion beyond the 3450 or 3500 zone. Very, very big time reactions here at the top edge, but we continue to have a horizontal top edge, and we continue to see an upward sloping bottom edge. And what that would tell you is, generally speaking, we're building energy for what could likely be an upside break down the road. But until then, this pattern could continue to develop. We could even see a drop as deep as that 3120 level and then bounce it back up. So if we're not ready to break out now, how much more back and forth do we get in this range below? We're now back to that middle chop here of 3350 or so. Anything below 3400 and you're in that middle chop here. So we could be stuck in here for a little while longer, especially after this recent failed attempt. But do we get an impulse drop here that drops us a little bit lower? We'll be watching to see how price responds here after CPI. Looking at the YM here, the YM is a narrow range right now, super quiet, 29% of ADR. It has been flowing a little bit lower since that strong high impulse move down. You got a secondary reaction here, and it just looks a little more bearish than what we're seeing out of the other markets right now. Now, of course, this one is also flowing higher within that uptrending channel here. Great reaction here recently. This is a buildup of energy. Are we about to make that next move to the upside here and get us going, or do we fail and bring this thing back to recent support at 41K? So there's a 3,000 point move we're looking for here. Which way is it going? There's enough buildup of energy here over the last 6 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks of trading. The next 2 to 3 week move could be ahead. This type of move, that type of move. Is it an impulse sell-off here? Which way do we go? 44K, very important here. Do we get that rotation? We'll see, but definitely building energy for the next move. And again, can we get a strong low to work from, or even a strong high to work from, to project that next 3,000 point move? That's what we'll be doing. All right, looking at Bitcoin, this one's down 0.2% yesterday. A super strong high. That is a day one rejection, a day one high. Everything about it looked like a strong reaction and reversal, and it happened at double top territory, keeping that previous high intact. So that's a strong double top high. We haven't necessarily sold off away from it, but it's clearly showing you that prices above 122 are just offered right now, and profit taking opportunities. Sometimes when you bang into a level that many times, you need a little bit of a pullback to try again. So again, very strong highs here. The midpoint of that rejection day will be very important until we can find acceptance beyond those two rejection day midpoints. That midpoint right there, look at that, and then look at this one here. Until we can find acceptance beyond those two rejection day midpoints, this market is trapped below it and into 113. So here we are in here until we can bust through that mid, this mid, and really open up the upside. So right now, very clear rejection and resistance above 122. Looking at Ethereum right now, this one's up 0.6%, still trading above 4,300 with a shot to continue to flow higher. This one is definitely in its bullish phase at the moment. And again, we marked 46 as the next near-term target. Once we get 4,600, we may rotate as deep as 3,400. Maybe we only pull back to about 4,000. We'll see what that movement looks like. But at the very least, it's a 600 point pullback. Market structure wise, you could even get back a bit deeper. If it's only 4,000, is the next level up 5,200. This thing is flowing to the upside in a big way. And again, no signs of rejection just yet. Any pullback could still be a buying opportunity. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out here heading into the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.